I do not enjoy Sky from Me.
He really doesn't.
Take my love, take my time, take me to a killing thing. I don't know, but I'm still me. I am such a piece of shit.
So, Chris messaged me the other day.
Are we not going to do the silence?
Yes, we are. But first I'm going to tell you what Chris sent me the other day. It was like... I'm sorry.
You want me to say
some ham. Took a shit.
No,
shit my pants.
Ate some ham, shit my pants.
Ate some ham, shit my pants.
Sky from me.
Sky from me. And I'm just ate some ham, shit my pants.
What was wrong with the ham?
God, everything.
No, I've had.
I just spit all over
the
myself.
The one time I gave myself food
sexy.
poisoning was from bad ham.
Oh,
I don't
no.
remember.
Did you shit your pants?
I mean, there is a reason.
Did they take the sky from you?
They did.
There's a reason kosher culture is like, stay away from pork. It's, if not prepared very carefully, it can fuck your guts up.
Yeah, supposedly, but nowadays they're like, serve that shit rare, we don't give a fuck anymore. We're melting the planet, just fucking go for it, eat it rare.
But I found that out actually well before watching this, because it's ages ago.
About ham?
No, about the theme, because somebody was like, look, you think Faith of the Heart is bad, look up the theme to Firefly.
Oh my God.
And I did, and I was like, ooh, it is worse.
Can me singing that be the intro theme for this set of episodes?
Can we just lay down like a proper track of that?
Yes, please. Yes, please. That means you're gonna have to write more lyrics, though.
No.
By a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and I'm here with
Jake,
Chris,
Ames,
James
is back. What a quinky dink.
I'm not a new member, by the way. I'm just visiting.
I mean, you could be.
No, it's.
We're trying to get rid of
Yeah,
Caitlin.
What?
He's probably not kidding.
No, we love you.
Oh, bless. I love you too.
But yeah, we can't get rid of her. She's my ride.
Lord. All right, even though we are, as I mentioned, a Star Trek podcast, this week we are here to do something a little different. You may recall from last week, we are currently on shore leave and checking out the sunny skies and sandy beaches of Firefly.
You know, I think Picard's shore leave, where he got some from that
Captain's Holiday?
No, the one where he went to, he had like 320 days of leave saved up. He was
go, back and see
get his
Anij.
Yeah, Anij was going to polish his dome.
Do you know how long it's been since I've seen a bald man?
Several hundred years.
And an odd number of days.
You can lose your hair in like your 20s if your genes are right. It has nothing to do with age.
You can lose your hair in your 20s if you try hard enough.
I mean, didn't Patrick Stewart lose his hair in his 20s?
I mean,
probably.
Did he ever have hair?
I think he had it at some point.
Don't lie.
The next day after overhearing that curly-haired dude came out with a shaved head.
Yeah.
All right, so today we will be covering 2 episodes, the first of which is Bushwhacked. In this episode, the Firefly crew find a ship.
Serenity crew.
What did I say?
The Firefly crew.
Technically, it is a Firefly-class ship, so I'm not wrong.
Yes,
it's like saying the Galaxy-class crew.
Fine,
which doesn't
whatever.
work.
Fuck all of you. The Serenity crew.
But it's also not the Serenity. It's like Eurythmics. It is just Serenity.
No, but I'm saying the crew of the Serenity.
Of Serenity.
What? I said the Serenity crew.
They're not the Eurythmics?
No, they are just Eurythmics.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Wait, I blew your mind.
Fine. In Bushwhacked, Serenity's crew... Serenity now! Serenity's crew...
Oh my god, they are just Eurythmics.
Jesus Christ.
Doobie-doobie-doop.
I own one of their albums!
No, they are emphatically just Eurythmics.
Holy shit. Sorry, go on.
Serenity's crew...
There you go.
happens upon a derelict ship, and they're like, the fuck, let's go see what kind of goods they got. Why is this little ship out here? Why are there no people? There probably would have been like 50 people. What's going on?
They hit one in space.
Yeah, that's right. That's how they were
Wash
alerted.
one over.
Fucking wash. So, they go to investigate, and by that I mean steal all the shit. And it turns out that the entire crew, or the entire complement of people on the ship have been horribly murdered by the previously only sort of mentioned, tangentially seen in a ship flyby type situation, Reavers.
And that was only in Serenity.
Yeah, we forgot to mention.
That's true.
yeah.
Because he did the Dirty Ivan, or the
Yeah.
the Rusty Trombone, or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck it is. Crazy Ivan, that's what it was
Yeah,
called.
but they weren't even seen on TV because
No.
they didn't air that pilot.
True. So,
this
like,
is our
people watching this
actual
episode have no fucking clue
introduction
what's
to
going
the Reavers.
on. And
Ish.
basically, they made a Christmas tree out of dead people and then hung it from the ceiling.
So festive.
Yeah,
Like
who,
you do.
hangs Christmas trees upside down from the ceiling. It's weird.
It's gross, isn't
It's like
it?
a, it's more
on
of a
Christmas.
It's a chandelier.
I'm gonna swing
Chandelier by Sia. Good
from
song.
the chandelier. Anyway,
I've seen upside down Christmas trees.
I have not, but I can't stand on my head. However, there is one dude still alive on board, and they're like, well, let's take him on the ship and see how he's doing. Not great. He keeps muttering under his breath. And what we find out later is that people who survive Reaver attacks don't really get better. They just become Reavers.
Reaverism is contagious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they're so traumatized by what they've seen or some
Trama.
shit. Tramalama. Ding
Trama.
dong.
We'll come back to this.
We're on the Trama train. Meanwhile...
Should have taken some Tramamine.
Ha! I liked it. I did like it. Ames didn't like it. Meanwhile, they're found by an Alliance commander who's looking for the Tams and finds them stealing shit off this ship. He's kind of Commander Harkin, it looks like. Or is it Horkin?
Harkin.
Horkin. Commander Horkin.
He has some of that ham.
Oh no. He's Horkin. So yeah, he's looking for the Tams, but he's also kind of like, why were you stealing shit off that ship? Why did you kill all those nice people? And they're like, what? And we undergo like a series of completely tonally off series of interviews with the crew. And is this the one where they hide them on the outside of the spaceship?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
Italian
spaces.
finger kisses. They're like...
Because they had to play up at the beginning that Simon doesn't know how to put on EV suits.
Right. So, in order to convince them that they do not have the Tam siblings, they hide the Tams in spacesuits on the outside of the ship where they won't think to look, which is awesome. And meanwhile, the survivor of the Reaver thing becomes a Reaver. And the commander's like, oh wow,
It's like zombie movie.
it really was Reavers. I guess you guys didn't kill those people.
He
Cool.
lets him go.
And they take the shit, though. He takes the cargo,
He
doesn't he?
take the cargo
Takes
back.
the cargo. These fuckers never get paid. Except for that first time.
Where they have to
Mal
kill a
makes
lady.
a big
Yeah.
deal about, I always get paid. And it's like, Mal, you fucking never get paid, bro. So, that's Bushwhacked. I think I did a much better job of that than I did with First
I
Contact.
thought that was quite good.
Thank you, dear.
Quite nice.
Appreciate it. That's why That's why we invite James
yeah,
back.
so
He's always nice to me.
I try to be nice.
You are.
So yeah, we didn't. The Reavers did appear, or their ship appeared in Serenity.
Yes.
But-
they were scary.
They were scary. So
They played that scary music
so
every
the,
time.
It reminded
yeah.
me of one of the pod racers, sort of.
Yeah, like one of the
Like-
ones like blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, that
type.
one, exactly.
Not the but the
Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
like that.
I recently saw a video, I'll try to find it, where
I don't find it.
someone replaced the sound effect of Sebulba's pod racer, the one that goes with Seth Rogen laughing, and it works really well.
That sounds
Have I ever
amazing.
brought up why is it that in the Star Wars prequels all of the ships seem to have like a vibrato?
That
I
actually-
blame George Lucas.
That would always put me to sleep. Like the pod racer scene, I never stayed awake through the
And
pod
now,
But it's
are you
not-
sure
it's-
that that's because of the sound and
It's
not
not
just
just
because it's a
the
shit
pod
movie?
racers.
There
Though.
was a lot of
Every like it
reasons.
feels like every ship in those three films has like a weird like in the original film like it was like
Yeah, no, you're right. Definitely.
every ship is like
Yeah.
boo, 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 boo.
Older tech, obviously, Jake.
Why
Why was it, Jake? Why?
Because they suck.
Oh, you sort of said like, have I ever mentioned why that was? So I
No,
thought
I
maybe...
mentioned why. Well, I probably have brought up why it just always stood out to me. The things that stand out to me about those films are not the same thing. Like, why does Darth Maul's lightsaber get inexplicably longer when he lights the second blade?
Because Obi-Wan Kenobi is hot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what happens to my lightsaber when I see Obi-Wan to be
So,
fair.
Firefly.
The Death's Head Panoply! Sorry.
In some parts of the country, they call them lightning bugs.
Mm.
So what happened?
We go to
I
the
already
Reaver
mentioned
ship.
that.
I know. That's the
James already talked about that.
Just rolled right
So
off
done with
me.
this episode
Just
or no?
rolled right off
So the
me.
the Reavers are explained to us in the first episode as like
They-
men who've gone mad in space.
So
They're,
they're
like
men-
feral,
Yeah.
feral people.
They're people who have seen the edge of the universe and the nothing that is there, and it drove them crazy.
But it also,
But
like,
for some reason, it's contagious.
but there's also this thing where it's like, yeah, it's contagious, and they're also, some people seem to think it's like campfire stories. Like even this Empire guy
Right.
that probably should know that this is a real
He's like,
thing.
fuck
He's
Reavers,
like,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, children's stories.
It's like
It's weird because it seems like Reaver stuff happens an awful lot, and there's
Yes.
a lot of evidence that it's
Yeah.
happening.
it
I mean,
only
in-
happens to these people.
Yeah.
In Serenity, it follows them all the way to that planet, Westworld as we've dubbed it. It follows them all the way to the planet. It almost lands. It could have just gone to town.
Yeah.
It probably did.
On the town.
It probably did go and kill everyone in the town.
Good, they were all jerks.
No, I think it blew up in the
Oh, that's yeah.
in
might
the
have.
exhaust. Not
Oh,
I don't
That's
know
it.
if it's
Equivalent of
it's made explicit that happens, but
All right.
But still, regardless, the Reavers are obviously super real. You would think people would be dealing with it.
yeah.
no, you know why? Because it sounds like a problem for the poor people in the outer
Well, it's like-
planets, and they
it's-
just don't give a
it's-
shit.
It's sort of it's like the Scully approach. It's like
Yeah.
like Scully has seen so much fucking crazy shit, yet every time it's like, hey Scully, there's some crazy shit happens. She's like, crazy shit doesn't happen. What are you talking about?
I mean,
Science.
It could also be something that like the higher ups are trying to sweep under the rug, so they don't like they try to keep it contained. So you only know about it if you're like super high up and actively hiding it, or if you're people who've had run-ins with it or heard of people who have had run-ins
But
with it.
to bring people to heal, you would think you would want to play it up and be like, listen, like, you know, you guys think you're all that on the edge of the
Yeah.
galaxy, but you really need us to protect you from the
Without us,
Reavers.
Well, here's my question about the Reavers.
I would roll by fear, clearly.
Yeah.
How many are there actually? And because they kill pretty much everybody they see. I doubt they reproduce because they seem to just eat everyone they see.
No, they probably reproduce. There's nothing more
There's
base than fucking.
Well, would they be able to bring up a baby? No, they'd kill it. It would die from neglect.
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
the Borg have
maybe
babies.
it is a disease. Maybe it is something that like you can catch. Maybe
Okay.
maybe the whole staring into space thing is a.
What is
Yeah, maybe that's the
what is
fake
their
part.
like? How do they stay alive then? Because they clearly like they must have a pilot of their ship, mechanics on their ship.
That's
How does
yeah.
it work?
That's like the big like contradiction within them is there's supposedly brainless gang rapists where they bring up gang rape an awful lot in the show every time the Reavers are brought up.
Oh, it's like
I
Tachiyama's
was gonna
planet.
say
Yeah.
this is thematically linked
it's like
to
that,
TNG.
that seems to happen an awful lot. They mentioned being gang raped to death. So they're supposedly these insane mindless monsters, but then they also have to be in a spaceship that if your spaceship isn't maintained, as we've seen on on Serenity, it's always breaking down.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of no way
You need
those
to get like
things could
you need to
coexist.
fill it with gas. Where are they just is every single time they need gas? Well, gotta go pick off another ship, eat their people, take their gas.
or their
Yeah.
ship.
Well, I wonder,
Well,
I wonder if that's
they
what
leave,
it is.
They leave ships for like ambushes, apparently.
Well,
Like,
yeah. Well, this ship in particular was rigged with
With a CGI
with-
device.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with booby traps so that the Reavers could come back and
Like when you try to disconnect
also-
it, basically, right?
yeah.
It's like a tripwire or something.
yeah. So they would have been able to get two for the price of one, I guess.
So,
Okay, so here's
they are
what
really
Pacific said.
organized and also completely insane and chop their own bodies up.
Well, so
Yeah.
here's the thing about like diseases, right? Because if we assume this is a disease, and I don't know what I'm talking about, so feel free to correct me when I am inevitably wrong.
Gladly.
Fuck. Diseases tend to want to like spread themselves, right? Like, or they evolve to spread themselves.
Mhm.
Like, I think of how like there's that thing in cat shit that makes it.
Toxoplasmosis.
That's it. So if you get it, it like makes you want to have more cats. That's like a thing that it does.
Wow.
Is it makes you want more cats, allegedly.
Well, that's a parasite specifically.
Well, then that's what I'm talking about. So maybe it's a parasite, and maybe that explains it somehow. I mean, listen, James, I know I said correct me if I was wrong, but shut the fuck up.
I'm trying so hard not to.
No, go ahead, James. Correct me,
No, it's
please.
just
James has
toxoplasmosis.
Dude, everyone at this fucking table
can
probably
supposedly
has
change behavior if it gets into humans. Really, what it is designed to do is change the behavior of like mice, so that they basically
Mice want to have more cats?
No, so what
Fucking
happens is
poor
when mice get infected with this, they are less fearful and they don't respond as negatively to like cat urine. So they are more likely
to be
eaten
by
by cats. Where the toxoplasmosis is one of those things where it's got like it has to go through like 2 or 3 different animals.
Oh, good. Maybe
as
I
part of its
don't.
life
Maybe I
cycle.
don't have it then, because I still
But-
think cat urine is absolutely fucking vile.
But when it gets into human brains, it doesn't. It's not supposed to be there, so it doesn't do the same kinds of things. But it does supposedly like it's like make men more slightly more aggressive, possibly, and like women like slightly more promiscuous. I think, although that could just have been study bias. I'm not really sure.
Well, single women own cats, and single women do fuck. So
yeah.
you know.
So you're clearly sick.
All the single ladies?
all the single ladies.
But yeah,
Put
so
your
I
hands
don't
up.
think it encourages people to get more cats.
Oh well,
But there
that's
are-
my excuse.
But there are examples of parasites in the wild that make animals do crazy shit.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
when fucking like ants get
Oh,
that
horrible-
thing in their
yeah,
head that
that's-
makes them do things. Ugh.
Like that wasp that lays its eggs in fucking caterpillars. I mean, it doesn't really make the caterpillar do anything
Alternately-
except explode with wasp babies.
Alternately, what it could be is
They're
that the
always
Reavers are just the 26th century's juggalos.
Okay.
And juggalos manage to maintain their automobiles and have children before they go into the mosh pits or whatever.
Before they gang rape people to death and eat their
So
flesh.
what was the thing? So who told us about juggalos? Someone told us.
Justice?
Who told us about juggalos?
I don't know.
Like,
I thought it was on this show where we were talking. Maybe it was just another conversation I was having. We were talking about how juggalos drink special kind of soda.
Yes.
oh yes, I remember that conversation also, but I
what
don't
that was
remember if it
about.
was on the show or not.
Well, either way, maybe that's what they're in search of.
Space juggalos.
What's their thing? Magnets? I don't know how magnets work.
The
Magnets, how do they
insane
work?
clown posse
Yes,
that's the juggalo.
asks the question, "How do magnets work?" Yes, in one of their seminal works.
But yeah, this episode.
Bushwhacked.
Yeah, this episode
Yeah,
tonally inconsistent.
interesting. Why do you say that?
Chris and I were talking about this, so please help me fill in, Chris, since this was something you and I sort of talked about. But
That's why you shouldn't talk about it.
I know, because it kind of like thinks it's horror one minute, and then isn't sure about it the next.
There's even a little red balloon, like an It reference.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. What the fuck was that about? Was this ship like 26th century Chuck E. Cheese? Is that what happened?
Yeah, why would there be like just one balloon on the ship?
And like,
Was there
why
a
was it
balloon?
outside
There was
of the
just-
ship?
It was inside the ship.
Oh, I thought.
was
Oh, okay.
inside.
Sorry,
in
sorry.
the
I thought it was in
derelict.
In the
space.
derelict,
Yes,
there was
yes.
just
Yeah, there's a red
hanging out.
balloon.
There was just a full balloon. Like somebody had just like the Reavers came and someone was like, "Shit, I gotta finish filling this balloon and tie it off."
Maybe it wasn't Reavers. Maybe it was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Maybe somebody was doing like whippets or something. I don't know.
Can you do whippets? Are not.
That's true. That's
It's
what it is. That's
aerosol
nitrous.
stuff, yeah.
Whippets are nitrous. Maybe the balloon is filled with nitrous. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah, it was kind of doing like sort of a horror thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Then it wasn't. Then it was again.
Well, and like the interviews especially felt really out of place, particularly Wash being like, "Oh, have I mentioned how sexually attractive I find my wife?"
Oh, see, I really liked the editing.
No,
of
I
the
liked-
interrogation scenes.
I liked the interrogation scenes. I just felt like they felt a little bit out of place.
Yeah, that should have been in something that was like a less dire situation.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, an entire ship full of people are dead, and we're suspected as having killed them.
Let me tell you
Also,
about my
they think
wife's
we might have
ass.
some stowaways. You ever fucked a warrior woman?
Yeah, it would
Whee!
make a lot more sense if this was in the pilot where they had just stolen food.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels a little weird. Again, I like it. I love it. I thought it was really interesting to, like, the jump from Zoe being like, oh, we're really private, to Wash being like, I love that ass! It's like, ooh, okay. And I mean, I'm on board, by the way. And then she is gorgeous.
And then cut to Jane being, like, perfectly quiet and not wanting to say anything at all. I don't know. I thought the editing was nicely done.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, it was a nice scene, but I agree that, like, yeah, in the context of this episode where it is such a horrifying thing that precipitates it, I also just feel like, again, this is another episode where the pacing of the show kind of suffered. Where, like, we spend an awful lot of time
looking around the derelict.
Yeah, looking around the derelict.
Tricking Simon into putting a suit on.
Like, what did we even need? The umbilical thing that comes out and attaches to Serenity.
Yeah,
that never amounted to anything.
Yeah, there was no payoff. Like how did they get away from it?
Kaylee
was disconnected.
It shows you that Kaylee is competent, and I don't think we've seen that yet because we're still early days. And
no, we saw her tell people who had no understanding of the ship how to run it while she had a gut wound.
That was in Serenity, which the public hasn't seen.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So we have seen it, but the public. I apologize, Ames.
Yes.
So sorry.
But you look at this. Like, this is the second episode that was aired. You look at the interrogation scenes, and it's a way to continue introducing like the aspects of your characters. I wrote down after watching bits of Wash doing things Wash does. Wow, Wash is basically the Chandler of this show, isn't he?
I've never seen Friends.
Oh,
yeah,
he's the funny one.
Okay,
he's Matt.
Sorry, Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry. Sorry. Yes, he's my favorite.
Yes, as well he should be.
I always thought David Schwimmer was Chandler.
That's Ross.
Oh.
That's about all I know about Friends.
They did have sort of a Scotty moment with Kaylee, where she's very offended by them calling the ship junk.
Mm-hmm.
Forever.
Was that in the next episode?
No, that was this one, because then in her interrogation, she was like...
It was the cops
oh, yeah. You know what's a piece of shit when you have to do your ship like this?
Yeah.
Assholes. Yeah. That's what I like about her. I like that about her. I like that she's, big into a STEM field or something. Not STEM, but she's like a mechanic, which is like so unusual. Like, I don't know a lot of, aside from Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny.
That's her name.
I couldn't remember her name the other week. Anyway, she, when I think of like female fictional really great mechanics, I think of Marissa Tomei, I think of Kaylee, and I think of the woman from Atlantis, the Disney film.
I haven't seen it in ages, but I'll take your word for it.
I think she's like Latinx.
What about Belana Torres?
She hasn't seen Voyager.
Oh, that's true.
I haven't seen Voyager, and probably I won't think that when I see Voyager.
Jet Reno in Discovery. Tig Notaro's character, the engineer who shows up.
Oh yeah, she's great. I love how I didn't know who that was, and then you just said the engineer again, and I was like, oh yeah, no, yeah, she rocks.
What about McDougal from The Naked Now?
That's true, McDougal. She was a great chief engineer.
Was she?
She didn't get space madness.
That's true.
No Argyle, but
yeah, I also like about Kaylee that they allow her to be feminine and cute, but also kind of let her be a character.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's kind of like every time she tries to be feminine and cute, she gets mocked hideously by basically everyone.
Jane,
but especially Mal.
Jane.
Well, in the next episode in Shindig, she definitely gets a lot of it from Mal. Yeah. And she gets it from Mal when she's having lady spa time with Inara. I think she kind of gets it from all directions.
Yeah, and then she has to have googly eyes with the doctor until you're sick of it. So.
Yeah.
You mean immediately? I was sick of it immediately. I didn't like it the first time I watched this series, and I like it less now.
I mean, again, like you said last week, given her options, it makes sense.
No, I mean, I know. She's the only ass that she's seen in a long time, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also gotta be... you think about it, it's gotta be rough if you're on a ship and you're not seeing people regularly.
Yeah.
Can we also talk about what's up with the fucking proximity alarm on Serenity?
That was... the proximity alarm goes off, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, a ship!" And they look out the window, and it's 5 feet away. It's like, "Oh my god, that's how close it has to be for you to know."
They rigged up one of those backup cameras, that goes boop, 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 when you're about to back into someone else's car. That's why
it has an effective range of 30 feet.
Yeah. What I loved was the proximity alarm goes off, Wash goes off to check, and everyone just keeps playing basketball. It's
They don't have battle stations. There's literally nothing they can do.
Yeah, the ship
Yeah.
doesn't have any armaments.
But you
And
think
it's a proximity alarm. It's not a we're under attack alarm.
No,
it's
you
a
think-
it's a wash, go steer the ship
Yeah,
alarm.
but when you're
Go try to not hit that body. Oh.
when you're trying to stay the fuck away from the Empire and from Reavers and from gangsters now that want to kill you, you might pay a little extra attention.
Well,
Listen,
you wait for
you might, but that's the difference between you and the Serenity's crew.
Yeah, well, you wait for Wash to tell you what it is before you figure out what you need to do. If it's Reavers, it's fucking hide and pray. If it's somebody else, it's, move the loot that you're looting.
It's hide and pray. You know what I liked about the game they were playing is it reminded me of like that
Calvin
Mayan...
Ball.
What?
Go on.
I don't get it.
Calvin and
Hobbes.
Hobbes.
Oh, I've actually never really read Calvin.
Oh,
and
it's
Hobbes.
lovely.
It's a hole in my knowledge of old Sunday comics and such. It reminds me of like Mayan hoop ball kind of what they're playing because they're not actually.
Of, Pyramid from Battlestar.
I have not seen Battlestar.
I don't remember that from Battlestar, so because I
so
assume I've seen it.
the basketball scene is something that the show does pretty well, I think, throughout the whole series. Is it'll often have these little quiet moments where there's just nothing else going
Slice
on.
of
So-
life. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
so it's like pretty famously, it's like they eat, meals together pretty frequently, but like this is them playing a sport together because what else are they gonna do on like the 5 days that it takes them to travel anywhere?
Well, it's probably good to keep up the exercise too, just because like gravity and shit. Who knows what is going on in there?
Were they on their way somewhere to or from somewhere, or were they?
Are they ever?
They must
Where
have
are they?
been.
Where
Because
are
you
they
would-
going?
Some
You
vague.
would think that like they would have to be going around trying to find work.
Just hitting up all the usual spots, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Head over to
I'm-
Badgers. Head over to these other
Yeah, I'm
guys.
assuming they were transporting cargo.
Why
because
is Shepherd Book still on board?
he goes places where he thinks he's needed.
Oh.
And he's needed with this crew of dipshits.
Like I think that would be really suspicious, considering like
He's Guinan. Sorry,
Yes.
I just made the realization just now.
here
Wow.
he is right here.
Thank you.
Guinan
Thank you
right
for
there.
providing
Brandon
me
is back
Guinan.
from behind the television where I
And
found
here's
her.
Malcolm Reynolds too.
Malcolm
Malcolm
McReynolds. Hive mind.
Yeah, no. So right, so like, Shepherd Book came on board at the same time that River and Simon came on board.
Mm-hmm.
He was originally supposed to just be a passenger to their destination.
Yep.
He didn't care what the destination was.
He didn't care what that
Also,
was.
he's not a grandpa, which I forgot to mention.
Oh,
last week.
yeah.
To which my note was, you don't. And he says, like, I never married. I'm not a grandpa. You don't have to be married to be a grandpa.
You are if you're a priest.
Well, I mean, it sort of feels to me like he got asked politely to leave the fatherage, the monk, the abbey, wherever the fuck he was. So, like, maybe he just really has nowhere to go. Like, if he lived in this monk, fucking I called it a monk again. If he lived in this abbey this whole life, or
Monkery.
the majority of his life, like, maybe it just doesn't matter.
Is he trying
Okay.
to fix Mal? Is that why he stayed on the ship?
Yes.
Almost certainly.
Absolutely, because they make it such a big deal about the religious man amongst this atheist group.
Although, of course, again, like, no one that was watching this in Fox Order would realize that Mal had briefly been a Christian.
He kissed his
Yeah, that was in
the first episode. Oh, that's
which
true. They never
never
saw the
aired.
first episode. Yep.
They don't know that Mal is mad at God because God didn't care about his war.
Is he also mad because God needs a starship?
I just figured it was pretty explicit that he
True.
just doesn't like.
True, but I guess you do lose something
Yeah.
between, like, he's an atheist versus he's an atheist who used to not be.
Right.
Like, that's a big difference.
Yeah, losing faith is huge.
Yeah.
Said someone who never had faith. So, but I obviously am an expert. Yeah. Well, and actually what I kind of like, though, and I know we should have talked about this last episode, but I like that he kind of turns the expectation on its head when he brings Inara the meal while she's in the bath or whatever. And she's like, oh, you're going to tell me about the sins of my ways? And he's just like, no, bitch, I made you dinner. Asshole. And she was like, oh.
He's kind of like one of the only just like seems to be pure genuine in how he treats people and how he acts, and he really does seem to try to be like consistent with himself, like other characters, they'll just like kind of be like, it's like, I will do whatever's best in the moment, and it doesn't necessarily matter, like, because most of the other characters are just that desperate. You know, but Shepherd Book seems to be like, no, I've actually got something I'm kind of living for, even if he's not really doing anything right now.
Well, and also, like, assuming that he is some kind of Christian, which is obviously what I assume, like, judge not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just, it seems like, God, he's what I wish every religious person in my life could be. He, like, mostly is minding his own fucking business and actually just being good people.
And when push comes to shove, can throw a punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of there, like, if you want guidance, like, you can talk to me.
Yeah.
Like Guinan.
Like, yeah. He's Guinan. Like, it's just straight up, he's just exactly Guinan. Which is not a bad thing.
Can he mix a good drink, though?
I bet. I mean, well, we actually think about the history
Yeah, he was probably a beer brewer or some shit.
Yeah, a lot of really great beer comes from abbeys.
I'd prefer to think that he's like the Trappist bunks and he just makes really good preserves.
Ooh, yum.
He's he does garden. He's got his fruits.
Yeah, he brought that strawberry in the pilot.
Oh my god!
I want to talk,
and
Jake. You don't get to
Kaylee
talk.
loves strawberries.
Okay.
My goodness.
Bit
I'm
too
talking,
much.
Jake.
I understand.
Jake, this is my time now.
I hear you.
So a thing I liked on this episode when I started noticing it, Jake,
Thank you.
is that there's a lot of really nice like usability touches in the ship design. So there's like an example of this is they've got those big folding doors in the back, but in those big folding doors, which would normally just go open and close up and down, there's actually a smaller door that you can open and go in and out of, which makes sense. Like you've got this gigantic back door, but you don't want to always be lowering the back door.
Excuse me, Canon. Those big doors are in the front of the ship.
Oh, wherever the hell they are.
It's kind of like
Regardless, it's the way they get in and out. So it makes sense that they would want to be able to leave the ship without having to lower the doors all the way.
that
In
reminds
order
me
for
of
people to get out. And
like old-timey firehouses. They'll have the like you see it in the Ghostbusters movie. They've got the big fucking doors they have to open to let the car out.
yeah,
But then there's just a human-sized door in the door
yeah.
that Dana walks through at one point. Because again, like I say, you don't want to have to open the fucking barn.
Yeah, it's just like the whole set has like just tons of little details.
Exposed
like
the
that.
whole place to space.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoopsie!
When they're when the cops are turning over the ship.
They look under the placemats to
Yeah.
see if
Yeah.
Simon and River are under a placemat. Where are they hiding, everyone? I loved that.
Maybe they're just that good at hide and seek. They could be anywhere, man.
But they show they show them going through everybody's quarters, and like Jane's quarters are just filled with weapons.
Yeah.
Which I liked. I thought that was great.
And they're like, well, nothing
Yeah.
suspicious here.
Yeah,
Knives
there's that
and
rug.
guns.
There's that rug he hangs on his wall, which I don't think is to hide his guns because he's always moving the rug to get at his guns.
Mhm.
But that's where he just keeps dozens
No, that
of
rug
guns.
really pulls the room together,
Yeah.
you know?
He's the dude.
But yeah, again, like
More like
it's
the
like,
douche.
there are things about the show that are super weak, but they're like the set design is so solid.
Yeah, I really like. I think they showed it in an episode. I forget which one now, where they use the toilet, they flip it up, and they pull a sink down where it used to be.
yeah.
it's like it's cognizant of the space that everything has to take up because it's a fucking ship that you need. You have to have everything on the ship to survive because you can't just go pick stuff up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a thing about this episode I didn't like, because I'm still talking, Jake, not you, is so I remember really kind of liking the way the Reaver stuff worked. I thought that was sort of a cool idea.
What
that
stuff?
like that, it's like a person when subjected to something so horrible kind of becomes infected by the insanity.
You like that?
I liked it at the time. Now
Okay.
now I look at it and I'm just kind of like, there are a lot of people who have gone through very
I was gonna
traumatic
say, yeah,
experiences,
it feels kind of
and
insulting.
they
to
don't.
people
Yeah,
now.
it's like trauma doesn't make you into a lunatic.
Right. It's like when people say, like, oh, well, he's a serial killer, but he had these really bad childhood experiences. And it's like, yeah, but like 99% of people who have terrible childhood experiences don't become serial killers.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
something else there,
Yeah, exactly. And there was just something about the way that it plays, like, it plays trauma as being something that, destroys this person so bad that they become the monster.
It would be better if they said, like Jake was saying, like if it were a disease or a virus or a parasite or a something.
But it's definitely not played off like that at all. It's
No, it is
very
not.
much like he was forced to watch, so he became crazy too. And that's an incredibly reductive and harmful way to view that kind of mental problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a Jake, if you
TV
want
doesn't handle
No,
mental
no,
problems
carry on.
well in general.
Usually.
Well, right, and this was 17 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
look at River.
Yeah.
Don't look at River.
maybe a drop in the bucket
fucking
compared
Jane
to River's
keeps
treatment.
calling her touched or whatever. I'm like, ooh. I mean, I know
Touched.
Jane is an asshole.
Touched in the head.
That's the whole point, is that he sucks. But every time he calls her like touched or any weird word for like, you know, whatever, crazy or mentally deficient that he's using, it's just like, Jane, stop. Jane would definitely use the R slur.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't think to mention last week, one thing I do like about Alliance designs is their completely impractical office block starship.
Yeah.
Because it's just like we were kind of getting at last week, their main sort of thing is which they're evil actively. They're just sort of a bureaucracy that's a bit too big and kind of cold. So the fact that their starship's literally is like an office building,
It's cubicles.
is kind of brilliant.
It's I've never.
I don't
seen
like the interior, but the exterior is great.
I've never seen a spaceship that was designed like that because it's not sleek. It literally looks like a couple skyscrapers like lashed together.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. I mean, like,
Doesn't
if
yeah,
you
it
had a
doesn't
ship,
have
if you had a ship that was built in space, it didn't have to like launch from a surge. I'm guessing you wouldn't be able to launch that thing.
Right.
Yeah, no, this does not make planetfall.
This was built in space. It would make sense, I think, for like, you know, having artificial gravity to have the ship be oriented in that way with like the engines on the bottom, more or less, you know.
Yeah, no, like, but in reality, if you're building these giant spaceships, they're not going to look sleek because you do not need that.
But that
actually
just
a
so
huge
often
waste.
happens in fiction that it's kind of nice to see. Like, one of the only other examples I can think of where, like, they're like, yeah, this was probably built in space. It doesn't make planetfall. It doesn't have to be...
Yeah.
Was the Nostromo, which is just a block.
What's a Nostromo?
The ship from Alien.
Oh.
It is pure practicality, pure function. It is hideous.
Yeah.
It is not pretty. It's not sleek. It's just this big, blocky thing in space.
There were some of those in Hitchhikers.
Yeah, the Vogon constructor fleet.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the Alliance ships are interesting in that they look like kind of a city built onto a spaceship.
Yeah.
Which might also give some clue as to what the function of the Alliance is. You know, they're sort of portrayed as this, you know, this I put air quotes on it, civilizing force.
Yeah.
Fuck! These assholes are turning fucking apartments for like houses rented by families into fucking skyscrapers.
Yeah, they're like
these are the people who are gentrifying Boston.
I mean, this is like the you know, they're going out into these independent planets, these you know, these border edge worlds, and you know, bringing their brand of conformity and civilization to them, but they're doing a half-assed job.
Yeah.
And you know, faking, you know, fucking shit up as they go in some cases.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, you know, it's like the white settlers. It's the wagon train, you know, coming out west and shutting shit down.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of like, it's less that they're consciously evil. They're just inept, kind of like the T.
Hey, that's something I didn't think of. Okay, so if we take this show at face value, it is a Western.
Yeah.
Right? And we've even said this last week that it's literally like they took the scripts to a Western and just changed the setting.
Yeah.
Are the Reavers...
Oh, no.
Are the Reavers the Native Americans?
Oh, no.
Is that what the... Like, because, like,
No,
if you put this show into a Western, is that what they're doing?
No,
That's kind of the role they fill.
I mean, the racist interpretation
in the Western trope.
Okay, but I would argue that it's the white man who, when like given freedom from the white man's laws, because he's out in this rough and tumble world, becomes like the bank robbing, train robbing, hustling.
It's the gone too far version of Mal?
So the reason why sorry, I apologize. I was
Why? You don't have to apologize.
Okay.
No one else apologizes around here.
Shut the fuck up!
Anyway, no, so why
James is our shepherd book.
Why I'm with Jake on this one is because in a lot of Westerns, the Native Americans would sometimes be portrayed as boogeymen who are hiding around, like hiding in the hills waiting for an easy target so that they can kill and rape them. Like, it's like a really terrible, obviously inaccurate representation of them, but that's how they would be portrayed sometimes in these films. And it is the closest analog to what the Reavers would be. So I think when they were writing the scripts, they were like, oh, well, this existential threat's pretty neat, but obviously we can't make them Native American, so we'll just make them Reavers.
Well, because I was going to start like, man, they did this whole frontier thing, but they didn't have any like Native American analogs in this. It's really all just, it's like cowboys and the marshals.
Other cowboys.
They don't, fuck.
Dude, if that's what they did, fuck.
But
them.
I mean, think about what, if you look at like any old Western, I'm talking like old Western, right?
Yeah, like 50s.
Yeah, like it's cowboys and Indians, and there's like James said, they're coming, they're raiding your camp,
they're gonna
or whatever.
Scalp you, they're gonna desecrate your bodies,
and it's real fucked
monsters.
up. And it's basically everything that the Reavers do is like that scary shit that they try to do.
Is how the Native Americans would be portrayed.
I'm really interested in
what I just really don't want that to be.
It kind of.
I'm sure. I can't imagine them being doing this intentionally.
No. But what they did is they took all of those Native American tropes and translated it into the Reavers.
Yeah, and they
give them that much credit.
Yes.
Well, I think they did, because they needed that. They needed that big bad. They needed that scary thing, but they didn't want to make it a racist thing, so they made them white guys that went nuts.
And no one makes a Western TV show without watching a lot of Westerns.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew that they were creating the equivalent of the old Western Indian trope.
So in this case, because you're talking like, oh, this is awful. I think it's more awful the representation from the 50s and the 60s and however long ago. Once you make that connection that like this is, they were taking the racist trope and turning it into the Reavers. It's like, oh, okay. It's kind of hard to not think about that a little bit for me. Yeah, but it's like stripping away the actual problematic part, I feel.
I mean, maybe
it's more. I feel like it's neutering it.
I think you could have had. I'm going to be honest here. I think there's so many baddies in this. There's we have Nishka. We got Badger, who is from the first episode.
But none of them Jane is afraid of. Jane is afraid of none of them.
Right, but like I could imagine there just being roving gangs of baddies, like Road Warrior shit, Toe Cutter and Mad Max stuff. And they're just, they don't have to be this crazy other, which is kind of what the Reavers are depicted as.
Mad Max isn't a Western.
I'm not talking about a Western. That's the thing. What I'm saying is they stuck so close, rigidly to the Western tropes in this that they had to make it an other. Mm-hmm. They couldn't have just made it more bad guys that are just like the worst of the worst. Yeah,
but if they made it another bad guy that was worst of the worst, then we'd be making the parallel of those bad guys for the portrayal of Native Americans in Old West.
No, because the whole thing with the Native Americans is they are the other. It's the othering of the Reavers that makes them the Indian trope, and not the fact that they're villains.
But it's also not just the othering, but like the sort of level of violence portrayed, I think, too, because that was, like you were saying, like, they're gonna catch you.
Yeah, they harp on this whole, like,
and they're gonna scalp you,
thing.
and they're gonna do all this shit.
Yeah,
you bring up Mad Max as, I don't know if this is just because it's a bad example or what, but that's the same thing.
No, so the problem with it is not that there is an other. That's not the problem with that I see in this. Like, it's fine to have something that's the other. The problem is that the other they are using is a carbon copy of the way Native Americans were portrayed. So that's,
they didn't make their own.
They didn't make their own other. They're not like, it doesn't. It's not coincidental that it's like, oh, they're super hyper violent and mindless and things. It's like those are the tropes, like the things that the Reavers are. Like,
those are the same things the Mad Max people are.
Not necessarily.
No, they're motivated. They have reasoning. They
need gas and bullets.
They need gas and bullets.
Yeah.
That's what drives in Road Warrior. that's what drives the guy that attacks the little village. Is that
Lord Humongous?
Well, actually, I think.
But no, but the things like
Oh.
the Reapers, like the Reapers raping people, the Reapers being totally mindless, being totally goalless, just like appearing out of nowhere from like from your blind spots. These are all things that they would use Native Americans for in these old films. The things that the Reavers do are the things that Native Americans did in
and coming
Westerns.
across an encampment where everyone's been fucking wiped
Yeah.
out, like
and there's like it's the wagon train. That's
right.
It was a
exactly.
bunch of families.
Yeah, and so these
it's the Mountain Meadows thing, right? You know, it's the freaking. See, now that would be fucking interesting if it turned out not to be the Reavers, if it was like
the Alliance,
the Alliance, or like somebody, just some other rival, even, you know.
Well, and it's like you said, I feel like it comes down to laziness. I mean, like they could have done something different.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna fix this. So they come across a derelict ship. It was a trap, not by the Reavers. It was a trap set by the Alliance to show, like, we need to crack down out here, right? We need to look at what's happening. These rogue Firefly people are coming around and killing your family. So we're gonna impose our law in these border worlds. We have to do it. Like that makes the
Patriot Act. It's going to keep us safe.
I mean, that is like a false flag sort of thing, which is the Mountain Meadows massacre, right? It was the Mormon thing. Same deal,
What's
right?
this Mormon thing? I'm sorry.
So Mountain Meadows was a thing where some Mormon settlers basically disguised themselves as Native Americans and attacked and destroyed a wagon train.
That doesn't sound very Mormon.
Well, there's a lot of
the early days of the Mormons were very complicated.
And it was used as like evidence, like, look, hey, U.S. government, you got to get out here and crack down on these Indians. They're coming after the wagon train.
That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, it was fucked up shit.
They don't teach you that in fucking. Well, they didn't teach me that, but I'm from New Hampshire. We don't.
There's more to it than that, but it was a real thing that happened, and it's fucked up.
Yeah, we tend to not teach what we did to the Native Americans, because we're monsters.
But yeah, like I could see, like that would have been a really interesting thing they could have done.
Yeah.
So
that's
true.
true.
So what I'm hearing from you to fix the presence of the Reavers in this episode is to just not have had the Reavers at all.
I think the Reavers are not adding anything to the show.
It's I feel like the reason that they're there is to be a threat that keeps the stakes high. That says you can't just go around space willy-nilly. There's always a threat, an external threat.
I mean, right, and they're also...
Does there have to be one? Maybe not. I'm just rationalizing why they're there.
They're also filling the role that another sci-fi show might have with using aliens by not having aliens. But they basically make them alien-like, you know?
Yeah, they might as well be aliens.
They might as well be aliens, is how horrible they are.
Anyway,
it's
getting late
it's
as fuck.
10 of 10, and we have another episode we haven't covered.
We'll make it quick.
All right. Oh shit! Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. We also this week watched Shindig. In Shindig, we're landing on a planet. Serenity's crew is landing on a planet to make contact with some rich lordly fellow who has some cargo he needs moving. It also turns out that Inara has a special contact on the planet who has this great offer where she could be his full-time whore, I guess. Great. Congrats.
You don't have to say it just because the show did.
Full-time companion.
Thank you.
That was meant to be ironic and making fun of the guy because his offer is gross. It's that pretty woman.
I need a fuck doll.
It's that pretty woman thing of are you gonna put me up in a nice apartment and visit me on weekends? That's what it feels like. He sucks. But he invites Inara, this fuckboy, Atherton Wing.
Also white boy.
Asks her to come to this big party, and she's like, sure, I love parties. And then turns out that, I almost said Nathan Fillion, Mal has to make contact with his cargo dude at the same party, so he makes Kaylee buy a nice dress, and they go and make contact. During the party, Mal asks Inara to dance, and says a lot of nasty things about her escort person for the evening. Then Atherton Wing says something nasty about Inara, and
I
Mal
bought her. She's my property.
Yeah, she's
tonight.
mine. And Mal
matter
punches
how-
him right in the face and
no matter
says, "No
how-
one calls this whore a whore but me."
No matter how pretty you dress her up, she's still just a hook, and then he gets punched in the face.
Punched in the face. So now Mal has to duel, and not with pistols, but swords. Haha.
Swords.
And he does, and somehow he fucking wins. And Inara's like, "I'm not gonna be that fuck boy's fuck girl," and Mal's like, "Awesome, I don't want you to be." The end. And they get the deal with the cargo dude, because he's like, "Haha, you punched Atherton's stupid face in," and I love it.
Fun fact, Atherton's actor's actual surname is Atherton.
No.
I noticed that in the credits. I was like, man, isn't the character in this episode named that? And then I was like, oh no, it's just very close.
Also-
I didn't realize it was that actor.
Also, the Lord Jim, or whatever his name was.
Warwick
the fat...
Harrow.
Sure, the fat guy with the sash. Is it Warwick Harrow?
Sir
Fun name.
Warwick Harrow.
So I thought he was somebody else. I'm still not sure who I thought he was, but when I looked him up to be like, oh, it must be that guy. No, it wasn't him. But we will see him in Season 7, Voyager.
Long time from now.
Spoilers.
Yes.
Sometime in 2023.
Yeah, that actor floats around.
Yeah, so there's some interesting... So this is the planet that they picked everybody...
Was this Persephone?
This
Yes.
was Persephone.
Okay.
This I think Persephone might be the city.
Oh, maybe.
Or like the spaceport. So, but this is like there's some wealth inequality issues in this place. So when they were there before, and they were where they picked everybody up in the pilot episode, they were in like the dumpy part of town, and now they're in the
Posh.
real
Yeah, the
posh
ritzy.
fuckhead section of town.
The fuckhead section.
With frilly dresses
But, like,
on display.
that's-
Lord Fuckhead the Third.
So
Listen, I would be one of those living models if I had the figure for it.
So that's the thing, right? So these are all supposed to be, again, going back to the Western tropes. These are like your
Oil
your
barons.
oil people, your dandies,
Train
trains,
tycoon,
the railroad, the Hearsts, and the
Cow
people.
herd
Cattle
owners.
stuff.
so like these are your richies, and
Your Richie Riches.
and like I get, and again, it's just a fun show. But they really play into it with the costuming and everything.
Yeah.
They're like, it's not enough to be a really rich guy on one of these border planets. You also have to dress like a fucking rube and, wear a sash.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you look like with your bad bag and your nice
And like,
shoes?
and like
You
the
look like a
party,
rube.
like,
It's from Silence of the Lambs.
Thank you.
is slavery a thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Because Mr. Sashman says to one of the girls,
Mr. Sashman.
It looks like it took a dozen slaves to get you into that dress.
Well, in that, even at the start of the episode, the guys that Mal pickpockets are slave traders.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
He's a real Robin
Yep.
Hood.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
they're
shows it
playing
to
pool.
Inara.
Yeah, they're playing pool.
He's like, "Oh, we better get out of here. Someone's stealing people's wallets." And then he fucking
missed
waves
that.
it around like an
And then
asshole.
he
Must be that good a
causes-
pickpocket. I didn't
He
even
causes
notice.
another bar brawl.
Listen,
Listen, it was
it's a
fun.
Western in space.
They were playing
It's gonna be
holographic pool because it's the future.
I liked it.
Oh!
My first note is space pool, and then my
Look.
second note is space brawl.
Aren't they in like a fucking backwater bar? Why do they have these things?
holograms-
Does the owner of the
holograms
bar
are
say
easy.
decide like, oh man, I've got this bar. I really want to fill it with people. What do people want to come see?
Cool.
Oh, I'm gonna spend thousands of dollars on holographic.
No, it's probably cheaper than a real pool table.
think?
Considering because the planet we used Earth up, so like
Yeah, there's no more
how much
elephants to
wood
get,
and stuff
there's
is
no more,
there?
There's no more elephants to get ivory for the balls.
Ames, we're agreeing on something not being fun for once.
You love fun,
it's a
Chris.
lousy
I don't like this fun. I think it's stupid.
What's
He
stupid?
should just have a pool set.
Yeah,
What's-
but it's the equivalent of like having it's like having a pinball machine.
What's stupid is that there was a
Basically,
glass mirror behind the bar.
well, that's so you can watch yourself have sex on the bar.
But you could, but like in the last episode, they had a hologram window,
Which was also stupid.
which was stupid. But this one, they had a glass mirror, which if there's going to be a brawl, you might as well just have the hologram mirror too, or something.
No, because you can't smash someone through a hologram mirror. Actually, it would be hilarious if you could, and then hologram smashed.
There you go.
I could have been a writer on this show.
Clearly.
fuck you.
Yeah, so the slavery thing, actually, this episode is actually really kind of problematic for me. in.
Just for you?
Really?
Well,
It's-
as a rich person,
It's your friend's
with
favorite
many
episode.
slaves. Well, here's the thing, right?
They are
So
portrayed very
it establishes that there is slavery in this world. It also establishes that the companion, which we've already said is kind of geisha-like, and we all know how, on the up and up the geisha situation was.
Oh no, definitely not.
Exactly.
Selling virginity to like the highest bidder and all this kind of shit.
And then we have this whole idea, like they do this thing where it's like, oh well, Inara chooses her companion or her client.
Yeah, and the first one she looks at looks like he's like 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, of
no,
course you're gonna pick Atherton.
he was probably like 18.
But,
And he was probably a rich
clearly
guy's son.
The
and needed
attitude
to, like,
of at least some of these people is that it's just property. That's how Atherton treats it. It's like money changed hands.
See, it's really weird because throughout the whole episode, Inara's like, I like Atherton, and Atherton likes me, and like all these things, and
But
like she
Atherton
keeps
acts like a
yeah,
twat the
she
whole
like
time.
keeps trying to sell like it's like no, this is actually really nice and good for me, and then he's way worse than Mal is.
But it makes it really undercuts the empowerment message that the writers, that the producers are going
until
for with
the
Inara.
until the end, because then she's like, actually, I'm not going to be blacklisted. You fucking are, because you fucked with the wrong.
You can't do this to
companion.
companions.
So because she got the last word, you're saying that it solves the other problems?
Well, I don't know if I think it solves it, but what I mean is that like it doesn't just make her like a victim. In the end, she's able to be like, hey, actually, no, like I have agency, and you should not have fucked with me in this manner, and now you won't get to do it to anyone else ever.
But
again.
I mean, she should have done that like ages ago.
Yeah, as soon as he was like,
"You're my property," and like grabs her,
Yeah.
like physically grabs her to like drag her around.
No, I agree.
Like,
I agree
yeah.
with you.
Looking at it, I think a lot of it is Inara is fighting with Mal throughout the entire episode, and I think her like kind of like clinging around to Atherton is her way of saying like, you're not Mal.
Yeah, fuck you, I do what I want.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I dated a guy in high school almost entirely out of spite because my dad hated him. Like, I would not have ever said that then, but like, I feel like as an adult, I'm like, yeah, what the fuck was I doing? Oh, I was trying to tell my parents, like, fuck you, I do what I want. So,
I also think it's interesting. So Mal stands up to defend Inara's honor, supposedly. But really, I think the message I get from it is he's just jealous.
He is.
And possessive.
Very.
well, also he's like, no, she's mine, actually.
Yeah.
What really, really bothered me with this was like, because he was way less annoying than he was in the first two episodes for me.
Well, he was wearing those pants.
But then they were
Okay,
right
Captain
back to like,
tight pants,
oh,
or whatever she called them.
you learned that in horror school, and she's like, he respects her. He's like, he respects your work, he doesn't respect you. I respect you. It's like, no, if you don't respect her work, you don't respect her. You don't get to have both. Go fuck yourself, Mal.
Sex work is real work.
It is.
Hashtag.
That's all.
Yeah, the line that was definitely the most annoying was like, I don't respect your job, he didn't respect you.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like almost all of like her entire life is built around what she does.
Yeah.
Well, and also, who the fuck is he to talk anyway?
And yeah. Like agreed. First off, it doesn't matter. But
Like,
second
just-
off, like it's clearly important to her.
But all that aside, I do actually kind of like this episode.
I wanted more of Lord Fancy
Sash?
Chops
Lord Farquaad?
there. The one who
Oh, the one who rescues Kaylee from
From
those
the Mean
bitches.
Girls?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes!
Yeah.
I love that
he was
whole
great.
scene.
like I wanted more.
He was the one that said the slaves
Yes.
dressed you up.
Yeah, isn't it like, it's like, I heard it took you, it's like your father tells me it takes you 12 slaves to get you into that get-up and the wink of one space boy
What?
to get you out of it.
One space
Yeah.
boy.
I
Why
can't
is her
remember if it was
father
space
talking
boy.
about
Yeah,
this?
that's what
My
the dad
daughter
said.
sure is a slut, let me tell
I
you.
mean, that sounds about right for that crowd.
That's probably true.
But man, those fucking Mean Girls though.
Yeah.
Well, what did they have last year? Standards.
That was like a fucking sick
Damn,
burn.
girl.
Somebody call the
Fuck,
burn
yeah.
unit.
It's like you should really,
Somebody get Simon out here.
you should really talk to
She
your
needs
girl.
intensive care.
You should really talk to your girl. My girl.
That bullshit looks store bought.
Yeah, it's like your dress.
Loser.
It looks like it was bought in a store.
Yeah, I wanted like 10 more minutes of her just shooting the shit with those guys about spaceships.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
cute.
best.
It was-
Or eating strawberries at the buffet.
Both.
Because,
How about
because
both?
Kaylee hearts buffet very much.
Well, yeah, because she mostly gets shitty rations.
Maybe Inara's over there.
Oh, and you know,
It's not Inara, that's the buffet table.
people who haven't seen
Yeah.
people who haven't seen the premiere didn't see the Kaylee getting a strawberry from book.
Mm.
So when we see the fucking mountain of strawberries, it has a less of an impact.
I mean, I live in, this world, and I've not seen that many strawberries in one place. It's madness.
Yeah.
So many strawberries!
Oh, I think our man is over there. That's a buffet table. Oh, how will we know unless we interrogate it? She's very cute in this episode.
Like, more of this episode just need to be following her around.
I think so, too.
Yeah. I
Because,
agree.
again, Mal was being kind of shitty, so...
Yeah,
I didn't
every
wanna
interaction
deal
between
with him.
Mal and Inara was kind of like, Inara should just leave.
Yeah.
Not be with that on that
Yeah,
ship.
don't be with Atherton, don't be with Mal, just fucking go find somewhere else. You're too good for this shit, and you know it, because you tell them.
We also see again in this episode, who we met in the first episode was
Badger.
Badger, who's this sort of
Oh,
English for some reason.
you know what's fabulous
Well, the
about
actor's English.
Badger?
Yeah, he's English.
No, I know, but why are there English people?
Oh, well,
I don't know,
good point.
why are
Because it's
there
from Titan.
any kind of
Uh-huh.
people?
The role of Badger was originally written so Josh Whedon could play him himself.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
Joss Whedon, go fuck yourself.
Well, I'm glad they got this actor because I like this guy.
Oh, he's
He's
so
good at-
smart.
he's fun.
He's good in everything.
And, like,
He's in
it-
Supernatural.
And Doctor
He's
Who.
in Battlestar Galactica.
Who was he in Battlestar?
I can't remember.
An English guy.
I keep
He
thinking
was
we should
cool.
do a 10-forward series on Battlestar, but that'll take a year.
Yeah, it's a long show.
Well, after we finish Star Trek in 2032, we
Yeah.
can talk about doing Battlestar.
But yeah, I like the character. And one thing I liked about it is how he wears his little bowler hat and he tries to present himself as like this high society kind of guy, but he's obviously just.
Is that what he's trying to do?
I think so. Like,
Yeah, well, it's because he has like the hat and the suit coat.
he's gonna have this.
But then he doesn't actually have like a shirt. He's just got a tie around his neck and what we would call a tank top and what he might call a vest.
He tried to offer them like nice drinks, but it was just wood alcohol.
Yeah.
And, but then he can't even get invited to this party because he might be high in like the social strata of the shitheads. The actual high society people are light years above him.
How did he get the tickets to the place? For
That's
now,
what,
then?
that's what's
I-
interesting.
Probably
I don't know.
blackmail or something.
Or like forgery?
Well, it's also probably the sort of thing where these men in the high society crowd are. I'm guessing these are extra legal in terms of like the alliance.
Yeah, like there was a line about Lord Farquaad or whatever not being able to sell
you.
off planet or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
That's why he had to go through a smuggler.
So I'm guessing that these men, just like the old West, robber barons, were not necessarily operating, if maybe without the explicit sanctioning of the law at the very least. So they might need someone of Badger's connections from time to time to hook them up with.
Yeah, that's fine.
A smuggler.
But you don't invite those people to your parties.
Well,
Well, you don't invite
Oh.
Badger,
Yeah.
but you let Badger send Mal.
Which is what is weird, right? Because I don't quite understand. So Lord Fancy Baton, Fancy Sash, had to get these cattle off the planet.
Mhm.
Ooh.
He needed a smuggler to do that.
Yep.
He had his people, or like through some connection, managed to get this message to Badger, but it was like, yeah, but we won't do business with Badger.
No, but I think Badger found out about it.
Oh.
Like I think the Lord guy had put out feelers, like very light ones, just being kind of like,
Oh, cheerio! I could
might
use
have some
someone to hum these
supplies.
cattle.
I have some supplies that would be kind of tricky to transport. Don't say where, don't say what. And
Badger's got eyes everywhere.
Yeah, and so Badger's network finds out and passes it on to him.
Badger.
And then Badger's like, yeah, he's not going to talk to me because I'm a scoundrel. You might have a better shot. So
Okay. But yeah.
That cargo hold is gonna stink.
Yeah, there's gonna be cow shit.
You know what I
everywhere.
read that's very cute?
What?
They had to CGI the cows in because cattle will not walk on anything that looks like a grate.
Interesting.
No cattle
That
at
must
all?
make slaughterhouses complicated.
Oh.
That's why they don't want to go into the grate.
We don't talk about slaughterhouses. It's very sad.
But delicious.
I know. I'm not like a vegetarian. I just don't like to think about it. And I know that makes me a terrible hypocrite, but I don't like to think about it. So.
Welcome to the human condition. The vegetarians are killing bats.
Bats? Are bats okay?
What do you mean vegetarians are killing bats?
Oh God!
Bats
Somebody
are
told
animals.
them that bats were a vegetable.
No, they do.
There was some kind of thing I saw recently where,
Aw.
like, basically they're growing so much something that vegetarians are gaga for that they're destroying Batland.
Batland is a great theme park.
No, Batland. Batland.
So yeah, as the old saying goes, there's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism.
Or a free meal.
Okay.
One last detail.
Details.
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was neat when they were betting chores while playing space cards.
Oh yeah, that
On the
was
sheet.
I like that because
I thought that was sweet.
that's kind of nice because the one problem with the Star Trek poker games, it's like, what are you fuckers betting on exactly?
They're just betting to. I would play poker with friends. We didn't bet on money. We just bet on the chips to win.
Yeah, but
everyone
here
has
it's
a number of chips
here
and
there's a
you
clear
play the
thing.
chips.
You don't need a reason. You just win.
And
That's the
again,
reason.
like they do some good stuff in that scene. I think again playing up the Jane as a scoundrel. He when their backs are turned, he steals back some of the chores.
I also like that he's such a scoundrel that he's really bad at it because he's taking way too many.
Yeah, he takes like half of them.
Yeah, it's like he like goes for the pile and he like takes one and then he's like, man, like it's like takes like 3 or 4 and it's like they're gonna notice.
Here's the thing. I would think having more chores in your hand would mean you were losing.
No. So the chores is basically like I have a free pass for
like if
someone else
has to do
if it's
my
my
dishes.
turn to do dishes, I can give this to
I see.
Book. And
Get out
yeah.
of dishes free card.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. I misunderstood. I was like, I understand what you're doing,
Yeah.
but I don't understand the betting convention.
It confused me at first.
Yeah, if it were the other way,
I'm
it would have
blonde
made the
under
same
all
amount of
this dye,
sense.
so-
You would just
I
flip
kind of
it
wanted to
in
know
half.
more about the card game they were playing. It looked interesting.
Was
with
it-
the
was it not
plums?
just
It wasn't. They weren't regular cards. Like there was like a.
Plums are tall or long or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Delicious.
I don't know if it was supposed to be like a rat screw type thing, where because they had like, did anybody have any plums?
Yeah, I have a feeling.
No fruit.
I have a feeling the rules are about as thought out as the rules of Fizbin.
Probably.
I don't know.
Although I'm sure if we go online, fans have made decks and rules. And...
The Firefly card game is now an actual card game.
Oh my god, order it. I want to play it. I want
Yeah,
us to.
I
Can
don't-
we play
yeah.
it on a episode?
That is compelling
Firefly
radio.
tall card.
What?
Tall card.
Tall card.
Yeah. Apparently
Is that like
that's
a
what
trump?
It's called. It's called tall card.
Oh.
All right. Anyway, I one thing I did like is back on the ship, Badger comes and basically holds everyone hostage to make sure they don't go interfere with the duel, so that his name doesn't get tarnished. Fine, sure, whatever. But I actually kind of like that the whole time everyone else on the ship is trying to come up with some kind of plan to like distract Badger and the guards and go out and do the thing anyway and figure it out. And it doesn't come to anything, and it's all a red herring. And I actually kind of really like that.
I thought you were going to say I liked that while everybody was trying to figure out how to get out, River was just practicing her English accent in the
Oh,
back
no, that
room.
was awful, and I want to punch her in the neck.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
really understand what was going on. I couldn't understand
We're-
half the words she was saying.
We're first seeing that River is great at deception or something.
What the fuck? If you don't have to be a fucking genius to do an English accent, like, I don't understand. I don't feel like it scans.
The duel has always troubled me because
Mal should not have fallen for that thing.
well, not just that, but also Mal, like, I'm sure by any rules of civilized dueling,
He lost.
having your friend distract your opponent long enough that you can punch him in the face and stab him is not.
Everyone else there was against Atherton,
Yeah,
though,
that's
and
the
no one was
impression.
going to bring it up.
That's true.
It just seems like Atherton had pissed off everybody in high society.
It seems like that, but it's still like it always bugged me that like Inara is like, "Hey, look over here,"
Yeah, it does seem like
Yeah.
bullshit.
and then Mal uses that opportunity to get the upper hand. And like, shame on Atherton for letting his guard down before his opponent was defeated.
He assumed Mal had any honor, and Mal does not.
Well, all's fair in love and war, and this was both.
Yeah, the whole time I'm thinking, as they're talking about, oh, you gotta duel with swords, and you don't know how to use swords and all this stuff. I'm thinking, why don't you just go poison Atherton?
Yeah.
That's a woman's way.
That's
Ames.
fine.
So Inara could have done it.
Wow.
Well, you're the one insisting it can't be Mal for some gendered reason.
I was kidding anyway.
I know, and so am I.
Wow.
I'm not. Inara should have done it. Because she also had access to his room.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And
She
his
could have.
BB. She could have shot it right up his urethra.
I was gonna say she could have Lorena Bobbited him. You can die from that,
Well, yeah, blood loss.
Exactly.
Can die from a lot of cuts.
Gal's got stabbed in the gut a few times. She's probably not doing so good.
Yeah.
And Mal got stabbed in the gut too, I guess. So.
Like a few times.
Well,
Yeah.
Because he's like,
Mal's-
I'm the better man. Stab. I'm a good man. Stab.
Well, I'm
Oh,
not a great man.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I hadn't thought about that. I'm just
Yeah.
glad he. But I mean, honestly, like he never should have won. Even by cheating, he shouldn't have been able to win. If this guy had been, training to duel since birth, one night session of like sword fights or sword play and word play with fucking Inara shouldn't have done it. So
Yeah. But again, he wasn't, like, the point was that he did not win by being the better swordsman. He won by
being a
Default.
fucking cheat
by having the other guy get momentarily distracted.
by bosoms.
By boobies.
That's how easy it is to lose.
But yeah, I like this. I kind of like the the set decor, the costuming is also very
The
cool.
dancey dance.
The dance was stupid.
How do you ever know what dance you're doing in those kinds of events?
It's a social cue you would just know by being part of the culture.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah,
It's one of those things. It's like if you go to a Bruins game, like you're gonna know some of the stuff
you
to
know
do.
what you know what all the chants are.
Yeah.
You know how you do the
Somehow.
quadrille after the second quarter.
That's a 4-part step.
No, are there quarters? No, they're thirds. What's in
and
hockey?
Yeah,
Well,
they're
I wasn't.
periods.
Oh, three.
Yeah,
Three
three
periods?
periods. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I was doing
So,
good
an
until I
ellipsis,
called
then.
them quarters. Good one. That was good. I liked that. All right, Williams doesn't like it, but I liked it.
So I think that's about it for this episode.
All right, I guess that's it. So
Shake us out, Caitlin.
this week.
I could
Thanks-
be wrong. I
thanks,
was kind of
Rossi.
guessing.
No, we're good.
This week we discussed Bushwhacked and Shindig, episodes 3 and 4 of Firefly. Yay. Next week we're gonna check out Safe and Our Mrs. Reynolds. I just remembered that one.
Titties.
Yeah, dude, Christina Hendricks being young and foxy and shit. I mean, she's still fucking hot. Anyway, you're making me think about certain things about next week's episode.
Safe.
What
are you laughing at?
Boobs.
Like you said, safe. I don't know, it was funny.
But yes, if you like what you...
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that.
No, I know, it's okay. If you like what you heard and you'd like to hear more of a Star to Steer...
Sound clown.
If you like what you heard and you'd like to hear more of the Star to Steer Her By podcast, you can find us wherever fine podcasts are sold. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and of course, our home on the web, SoundCloud. You can also find us on Tumblr and Twitter at SSHB Podcast. You can go to our website, which is confidentially just a link to our Tumblr at sshbpodcast.com.
When are you going to make that a real site, Jake?
Yeah, Jake. Or you can find us and give us a like on Facebook by searching A Star to Steer Her By. This week I have been Caitlin.
I am a Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this has been Ames.
I'm James. I'm not here next week.
Good. You might be. We don't know what's happening next week.
Oh Lord.
We're not letting you leave. We're breaking your fucking knees.
Yeah, you live here.
Yeah, we got Badger guarding the door. You're not getting out of here.
I think James could take Badger, frankly.
Probably anyone could.
All those dudes. He had dudes.
Dude, I got more strength than you'd expect from my job.
And what did I say last time? What was my sign off last time?
Peace, bitches!
Oh, it was the curse. What's another good one? What's something that got said in this episode that was good?
Ate some ham, shit my pants, sky from me.
That's it. We're fine. We're done.
Ate some ham, shit my pants, do. Can't take the sky from me.
Fuck that up.
Yeah, I don't know how it goes. Do, you can't take the sky from me. There it is. That's it. That's how it goes. Sort of.